I've been sitting here for like 15 minutes trying to start this video, and I just truly don't think there's any part of me that can upload or continue uploading like nothing's happening in this fucking country. I want my channel to be an escape from the horrific things that are happening around us right now, but at the same time, I just feel like it's irresponsible for me to not say something. This is going to be a normal video. I'm going to be reading scary stories, but I just wanted to put this out there, stuttering over my words, because I just can't even believe that this is the state that we're in. It's really sad, and it's really scary, and it's just absolutely pathetic that people voted for this and that people support this. I just can't even wrap my mind around that. My channel is and will always be a safe place for minorities, LGBTQ. I can't emphasize enough that I am horrified. Every day when I go on my phone, I just see that things are getting worse and worse and worse, and I'm like, how did we get here? It's so backwards. It's so it's like unfathomably awful. How are people supporting this? How are people okay with this? I just don't. I'm going to try to post resources as much as I can, mainly on my Instagram. I don't use Twitter or X because it is plagued with, probably the worst you could possibly imagine. It's just all fake propaganda for the right, and it's just so sad that people see that and they take that for just what it is, what they're seeing, and don't dive a little bit deeper. One of my friends is in the political scene. She posts a lot of resources, and I think I'm gonna start just taking them from her story, posting them on mine, because I don't know. All of that to say, if you are in LA, if you're in Arizona, I've seen that it's starting to happen in Texas, Florida. If you are in any of these places, please be careful. Anywhere in the United States right now, just please be careful. And if anything I said upset you, I don't care. I do not care. I don't want you here. I want the people who come to my channel, who watch my videos, who have been watching my videos for the last 7, 8, 9 years. I want them to feel safe and loved and welcome. And if you can't do that for them, I do not want you here. Anyways, let's get into the video. I'm back, and I have more of your Let's Not Meet stories that I'm really nervous to read. I picked out 2 stories. I don't know why I don't have 3. I sent these to myself like last week, but we are just gonna read the 2. I think my rant at the beginning may have been longer than I anticipated, which, is normal for me. But this first story says, I left a cult last year. Hi Courtney, I love your videos, but never thought to share my own story until you shared the stories of people who had left cults. I never thought it would happen, but it did. I'm a Christian, and I still am, so I'm glad that being in a cult didn't destroy my faith. I'll try not to make this a lengthy story. It all started when I was 13, more than 10 years ago. One of my parents joined a church, and from the beginning, my other parents had a bad feeling. We had started going maybe 3 years ago, and we would go regularly, twice a week. I'd visited a few times, and although almost everyone was somehow related and it was a small church, I didn't think too much of it. I hadn't been to many churches before, so I didn't realize that things were not right. And I was a new Christian too, so many things that the church did that I thought were normal were not in the Bible, or they were twisting the Bible to suit their own agenda. It started with subtle things. It started with the pastor / the leader wanted all the young girls or young women to call him dad or daddy. Me and my siblings never did. People would go to him to get permission on everything. They couldn't even go out with their family on their own, to the movies, to the beach, anything. He had the adults and parents wrapped around his finger. He would make the young men go by his house on weekends to clean around his house or cut the lawn, and the young woman would go tend to the garden with his wife. Also, he forbid a young woman from bringing any men into the church if she was interested in them, because he was already planning on getting her married to someone from there. This woman would end up leaving too, and we are still great friends to this day. The church also had a separate area of land way up in the bushy area of the country where they would often go. I'd been there a few times. They would go and tend to it and plant, which doesn't seem too bad, but he was always talking about doomsday, like those popular cult leaders, and instilling fear into the congregation. He would basically make it seem like that place would be our new home or our only way to get food. People would work really hard all the time to be obedient to him. Even when sick, they would still come out and do their duties. Then it came to intermarrying. He got his children married to other people from the church. He got other members married to each other, and even tried getting a married man to get a divorce to marry another woman in the church. He separated couples by keeping a woman in his family's home away from her husband. He even tried to set me up to marry someone from church too, but thank God for my parents. There was also a whole government conspiracy he was involved in, but for safety reasons, I won't speak on it until I feel safe to do so. And just like Jonestown, he built another building / house where he lives so other members could live there, women mostly, of course. He had a very inappropriate relationship with some women in particular, and other ex-members said he may have been unfaithful or abusive, but I can't say for sure if that's true. All I do know is that it was bad. He hit others, he was controlling, he even insulted members who left the church, which is not what pastors are supposed to do. He even knows about a member in church who sexually assaulted multiple women and did nothing. I sat in front of that man for years and even went to his house. It makes me feel sick even thinking about it. There's a lot of things that happened which should have been red flags, but me being young and naive, I didn't know. So I can always post more on this experience. We left less than 1 year ago, and I'm so glad. If I ever saw them again, I don't know what I would do. No one who still goes to the church keeps in touch with us. They have since shunned us. Honestly, I'm glad because they're all messed up. So to the church cult leader that tried to arrange a marriage for me, let's never meet again. I am so beyond glad that you got out of that and that you were able to recognize now that those things are not right. It's really scary what people will turn a blind eye to and will go along with if they're a part of something, as long as they just feel like they're a part of something. Okay, and this next story says, there are always signs. Trigger warning for death and SA. You know how after somebody commits a murder, the family of the killer always says, I don't know why they would do that. There were no signs. Well, I'm here to tell you that yes, there are signs. This is my experience. I'm not giving any specific names, dates, locations, etc., because I'm still in touch with the family and I don't want it to get traced to them, but I'll pick some letters so you can follow along with who's who. My best friend from high school, I'll call her L, has a younger brother, I'll call C, who is on the spectrum. I believe his autism is the reason they didn't see the warning signs. They assumed his behavior was because of that. I always knew it seemed extreme. C always hated their pets. He never caused them any serious harm, thank God, but he would chase them, yell at them, and swat at them if they got too close. He always played very rough with the youngest brother, who's maybe 5 years younger. They chalked it up to boys being boys, but a couple of times the youngest got really hurt. He was always peppered in bruises and even bled a few times after he and C played. C was also very emotional, like to the extreme. I know people will say that having very strong and uncontrollable emotions can be caused by autism, and I know that's true, but this was bad. One day, while I was hanging out with Elle at their family's apartment, she asked C to take out the trash. The dumpster was really close to their unit, so it would have taken him 3 minutes to get out and be back inside. C refused, which is normal for a teenage boy. For context, C was maybe 13, Elle was 17, and Elle told him again to take it out, and he started screaming. He screamed that nobody in the family loved him and that everyone was out to get him. He started hitting himself really hard on the head and then locked himself in the bathroom. He kept screaming and said that he should just kill himself and that he wanted to die. When we finally got the door open, he was banging his head against the shower wall and was saying that he hated his family and that he wanted them to die too. Outbursts like that were very normal for C, and a lot of them included comments about killing himself and hating his family. Maybe a year later was when the unthinkable happened. One night, I was in town and heard about a little girl that went missing at the apartment complex that C and L lived in. It's normal for kids to play in the woods that surround the apartment, so I didn't think much of it since nothing bad ever happened in our tiny town. I assumed she got separated from the group and that she would be found unharmed. The next day, I went to Elle's apartment to hang out, and the youngest brother is the one who let me in. He said Elle was finishing up a shower and would be out soon. I asked him where C was, and he said, "You don't know? You should ask Elle because I'm not supposed to talk about it." I asked Elle, and she said that C had been arrested in connection to the little girl who went missing the night before because she wasn't just missing anymore. She had been killed. This all happened years ago, so this is all the information I've heard / have found over the years. The night the girl did in fact get separated from the group, C had noticed and told the other kids that he was going back to find her. All we know from that point until he got back to their apartment is that the little girl was strangled and... we don't know in what order. And the DNA evidence connected C to the scene. When the police arrived before they found the girl, who was in 1st grade, the other kids told them that C was the last one to see her, so C was already in custody before they found the girl. Once they found her, they began questioning C. While being questioned, C claimed there was a shadow man that was the one who did it. Then he claimed that the shadow man told him to do it. C then claimed that he didn't remember anything from that night. He tried to act incompetent His family even said he had the mentality of a third grader. None of that worked. He was deemed competent and fit to stand trial. He was found guilty due to the DNA evidence and was convicted. He will be in prison for a very long time, and when he's released, he will be on a predator list. What's worse, if it can even get worse, I worked with a guy a couple years later who had worked at the juvenile jail that C was housed at. He told me that not only did C remember everything, he bragged about it. He acted proud of what he had done and told the other juveniles the details of what he had done to this girl. So to the families that didn't see the signs, they were there. And to C, let's never meet again. I figured that was gonna be heavy as fuck. 2 heavy stories following a heavy fucking intro. Of course. That's all I have for now. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys have any stories that you want to share with me or the community, I'll have my subreddit linked down below. I love you guys a lot. Like a lot. And I wish there was like so much more that I could do right now. But I'm gonna go. Like I said, I love you guys. I will see you in the next one. Bye.